And the Scots are singing. They got a good point against the Swiss.
Scots are still in, just about.
They are. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? With the 24-team format, you're still in anyway.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
So.
But they're more in. They've got a firm foot.
What you don't want is to finish third and not go through. It's more of a wooden spoon than finishing last, somehow.
I just sort of look at the end of that match where all the commentators are sort of saying, you know, they really improved in the second half. I was going, I was more stressed out in the second half. I didn't feel like they'd improved. I was just more stressed out and glad they'd got through.
Yes, they got through it.
Got through it.
Yes.
Got through it. Through the match without, losing so many points.
Indeed. Well, Scotland, of course, drew 1-1 with Switzerland. And it has to go down as a good result, Jim Campbell, because of the manner of Scotland's first game and also the manner of Switzerland's first game. So the Swiss are a handy side.
They are. They looked at times like they were just going to just quite casually and professionally kind of wear Scotland down a little bit and let their quality show. There were times where I thought, they've just got better players here. They seem to be getting around challenges very easily, stringing passes together in a way that Scotland didn't really have much of an answer to. And Scotland's answer was to just work really, really hard. They were so diligent in that second half. They closed Switzerland down a lot better. They just stopped them from really being able to play the game in the way they wanted to. And it didn't look like they had that in them in the first half. And I was really impressed with it.
Chance after chance before half-time, wasn't it?
Were you worried about our beautiful British boys in the first half, Peter?
Yeah, I was. I thought they were going to go out without a whimper, but we got a whimper in the second half.
They're going to go out with a whimper.
With a whimper.
You don't want a whimper.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you want without a whimper. So you want a whimper.
Well, that's how low your expectations were.
Yeah, I didn't even think there was going to be a whimper. Just a silent kind of like knowing what's going to happen and just accepting it silently.
Yes, I see.
With honour and grace. But like, what kind of half-time team talk sort of elicits such a change? It was just like... Can you just be at it a bit more, lads? It seemed to be that was the limit of it.
Well, he talked about kicks up the arses and hugs, didn't he? After the first game, Steve Clarke. What do you reckon he gave them at half time?
I think it was more
restraint hold,
anus based.
Not maybe a full time, Jim, but
celebrate like you want to celebrate. Flares have two ends.
They do.
One hot, one lukewarm.
We're not even into the flare territory yet.
No, we're not.
There's so much Euros to go. It's exciting.
My initial reaction was to say, I hope we do. And I thought, well, do I hope that? I don't know. We'll see how we get on.
The thing is now it would be hack, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's hack to stick a flare up your arse and light it these days.
Just two of them.
Do something new.
Where'd you put it now?
A uranium rod. What other dangerous thing can you put up there? One of those massive Chinese firecrackers that are like the size of like a tree stump.
I was thinking something a bit more local, but I mean, Bratwurst, that sounds a bit too...
Something with dry ice coming out of it.
It doesn't do anything. We need some razzle-dazzle.
We do need razzle-dazzle. Well, we certainly do. Well, but you're right to say, though, in the first half, that I thought Switzerland... they were on course for doing the so-called professional job and win 2-0. And I did fear for Scotland. But of course, Scotland opened the scoring. It was a little bit against the run of play, and it was rather fortuitous. Your man Fabian Schär getting in the way of the beautiful boy Jan Sommer.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that, but you would also sort of... Well, I guess you don't know
Sommer's
where
face, he was just like, yeah, that's mine. What are you
doing?
Given them a goal.
You put that up right where the spiders live. And if I know Fabian Schär, he is good for a long ranger late in a match as well. He did it against PSG, of course.
Yeah.
When he's angry, he really he rifles them in. But we didn't get one in this match, thank God.
Yeah, honestly.
Scottish God.
Super
Gran.
When the Summer's face, it was as if... Have you not learned to trust me after so many years, you plonker?
It's rare to see two such handsome men involved in something so hapless, isn't it?
You can't blame someone for that.
Well, no, but he was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Team.
He's like the second-hand embarrassment is very much on him because he also loses.
That's what you mean.
But it was given to McTominay in the end, wasn't it? They kept changing who it's been given to.
It's McTominay's goal. It's on target. That's the thing. Is it on target? No matter how wicked the deflection, no matter how
it count as a deflection, though. He essentially sort of just fails to clear it, does he not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's almost as if it's a different phase of play. It was that kind of...
Well, Schär won't want it, will he?
No, he won't do. McTominay wants it. Schär doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Scotland don't want to just be surviving
using that
on...
goal, I'll have it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scotland, are they gaming the system? Because it does seem that they are using opposition defenders to score goals in this tournament.
Yeah.
Which is, incredible.
Hitting yourself.
But they're just whacking in half cross, half shots. They just find their way into the net.
Yeah, but it did feel like it was a bit against the run of play. And then Switzerland came back and had chances. And Xherdan Shaqiri, when Saudi Arabia hosts the World Cup, I'm sure he'll pop up with one.
And what a one it was.
Oh my God. He's the first European to score in 6 different major tournaments. He scored in every one since 2014. He played at the 2010 World Cup as well.
Isn't he the only, someone's saying he's the only player who's plying his trade in
the Americas.
In the Americas, who's ever scored in the Euros.
Yeah,
which sounds insane.
Which is a lovely stat, or fact rather.
Vish referred to him in the WhatsApp group as the Minecraft Messi.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, what a hit though! It was obviously it was gifted to him, but he still had so much to do. And you think he'd take a couple of touches and try and get around a player and rifle a shot home, but it
was a gift, but it wasn't wrapped.
No, it was
a treasure hunt.
It was on
gift.
Amazon. Yeah. You had to enter your card details at the CVC at the end. Then you've got to do the two-factor authentication on your text. Then you've got to send it to the place it's got to be. Then you've got to unwrap it, wrap it, and then send it to somebody else.
So I think we can call it. It wasn't a gift. It was a voucher.
Exactly.
But you have to spend the voucher.
Yeah. It was an advert for the product you want to buy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a beauty though, and it really did sink Scottish hearts for a moment. Because
he's just one of those lovely players where he does just need a moment.
Yeah.
It's just got that technique. To just deliver on it.
His technique failed him though in the knee slide.
Well, you'd. He's getting older, isn't he? He's got to prioritise different things.
He's got different physicalities.
When he hits that turf, the turf just goes, no.
Yeah. We don't usually have this player, this shape of player doing what you're doing now.
Thud.
Xherdan.
Yeah, but glorious goal. And again, it was a mistake, as we say. It was a goal voucher, wasn't it? And from Ralston. And that can be, and it is so, it's so...
Were you going to say the scene is so typically Scottish?
No. I was going to say it's so discouraging. Actually, was the word I was looking for. That you got the lead, and it was only 13 minutes later, which is a relatively short period of time.
Yeah,
and the manner of it as well. And you just think, oh bloody hell! You get your noses in front. We're defending hard against this. Look, they're on top, and they had chances as well. I mean, Gunn made a good save as well. But again, in that first half, it really did look like Switzerland were going to have it.
The offside goal in the second half, I think it was Ndoye, wasn't it? Scored it. It was quite funny. Oh no, it was brilliant bolo.
Yeah.
Because the Swiss fans wasted their beers.
Yeah, they did.
Did that thing of just chucking you. It's going into stadiums now. I thought it was more of a fan park thing.
Yeah.
Stadiums as well.
I noticed that as well.
You deserve that, you dickhead.
And to me, it did look quite... Obviously, he was offside. Obviously, I'm not watching it from the same angle they are.
And you've not had beers.
Not had beers. So really, I should have more sympathy for them. But ultimately, they were beerless. They were. After that.
Just dripping, stinking of cheap lager and just kind of watching a match going, I'm a bit gutted about this, to be honest.
Yeah. It was a nice finish,
although they've got 4 points in the group now, they will obviously be absolutely fine. But I think in terms of momentum, this is huge for Scotland, isn't it? Because we talked about having the Germany first. You might ideally want that, actually, just to get the hardest one out of the way. And because of the way they performed in that second half, and because they've not been beaten, you look at the Hungary game and think, they might have this, they can go into this with a lot of belief.
Yes.
They can go into it and kind of try and set the agenda themselves. And they've got a really good chance of getting something there. And also, if they draw, they could still go through. They'll want the win.
On 2 points.
It'll be unlikely, but not impossible. So...
I tell you what, Jim, if you were to sneak through on 2 points, that would be a damning indictment of the...
All I'm saying is it's possible.
If someone goes through with 2 points, UEFA have got a decision to make. They either go, right, sod it, 32 teams, we're not having this top two, or back to 16
teams. That is the decision they'll make. The decision will always be, expand the tournament.
I don't know. I mean...
Let's have Australia.
We'll do it in Eurovision.
They do.
Exactly.
They are, They're very welcome. They're very welcome. But so Scotland improved as the game went on, and I think that's the real plus point for Scotland is that they looked a little bit rattled, but they are playing what really is a better side. You would say not a huge amount in it, but they've beaten better sides in qualification for this tournament. We talked about what Steve Clarke has done with this team, and he's done a very good job. So how do they elevate themselves? How do they keep going? Well, ride your luck a little bit, defend well, blah, 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 blah. And then as the game goes on, and you see the influence of Billy Gilmour as the game goes on, much talked about would he start against Scotland. Clarke obviously went for a bit more sort of steel, if you like, in that midfield. And they gave a poor account of themselves. We know they did against Germany, but as Clark said, he went, well, the outcome was we were never really going to win that game.
They were down to 10 men for a lot of it.
Yes. Porteous will be loving this. He'll be thinking, oh, can I come back? Knockout game? Hey, boys.
But maybe clarify what knockout means before.
True, yeah. Obviously, there were always going to have there was always going to be a different challenge against Switzerland, but a much more sort of manageable one. And Gilmour himself really grew into the game, and you saw his influence as well. And McGinn, and by the end of the game, they probably looked the more likely to win it. And I think that's really encouraging for Scotland. You saw Akanji with that last gasp, but it was certainly a very necessary clearance, and he was very pleased with himself, as he should have been when he got it away. But I mean, Hanley hitting the post. There
had a couple of moments in a couple of sort of goalmouth scrambles where on another day you think they would be able to pull that off. So I really hope that I don't need to hope because they absolutely will, but I want to see them give everything against Hungary, and I don't think there's any danger of that not happening, really. The massive drawback is the loss of Kieran Tierney.
That is huge, yes.
I mean, really, really huge. I mean, they're already missing Nathan Patterson and Aaron Hickey. They've been sort of decimated by injuries in those positions, and it's such I'm gutted for him personally, but also for Scotland. He's a big part of how they play, and a real positive. He was having a good game as well. Yeah, indeed, and he's a huge player. He's one of their best players. You know him as an Arsenal fan. You've seen him play a fair few times, and It will be a little bit of a different backline. As I say, they lost Porteous with that red card against Germany, who played in the back three. Kieran Tierney, again played in the back three. So defensively, they're going to have a little, different personnel in there, a little bit of a shuffle going on. But it's really about the forward line and how they take on Hungary now. What does Rod Stewart think? That's the question, isn't it? Well, Rod Stewart said that Scotland will teach Switzerland a footballing lesson. Yeah, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Definitely something he shouted at a hotel bar manager, isn't it? Stewie. I think that would be the thin end of the wedge. I hate to think what he shouted at members of staff over the years. But yes, Hungary were beaten 2-0 by Germany. That's 2 losses now for Hungary. They'll be very disappointed with that, and they really need to go and beat Scotland now to survive in this tournament or have any chance of surviving. They've been disappointing so far. They have been, They've come in off with a good record in qualifying. Obviously, in terms of Szoboszlai is very eye-catching, very, very good player. They've got a few other sort of tasty players as well, but they're just not quite being able to kind of exert themselves and again sort of set the agenda. They were well beaten yesterday. There was a point where they were. Did you not think that? I don't know. I mean, I thought they did okay. Fortuitous push, but I thought they did okay. But they were working really, really hard to maintain their deficit. Mm-hmm. They never really looked like scoring, I don't think. Well, there was a couple of chances. Well, look, you can argue the toss on that. A couple of headers they probably should have done better with, to be fair, actually. I think Hungary will definitely get more joy against Scotland than they have done against Switzerland and Germany. Yeah. But I also think Scotland will get more joy against Hungary than they have against the previous sides. It's obvious there. It's enjoyably finely balanced, isn't it? It is. It's what you want from a final group game. It's 2 teams trying to find a whimper. Isn't it? Yeah. Locating the whimper. I think Scotland have got more of a. I think you're misunderstanding the whimper. You want to give the opposition a whimper. Yeah. No. Oh, no. They're both people who may fall out of the tournament, but they're just trying to find whimpers. So the whimper is the good thing, right? So the Scottish want the whimper, the Hungarians want the whimper. Are you getting whimper and wimpy mixed up? If you go out with a whimper, it's because you've been so heavily battered that all you've got left in you is a whimper. Right. So this is how low the bar is. And the Scottish would love heavily battered things, so it's all good. Yeah, you see, Jimmy, he's got you there, hasn't he? Yeah. You've let me in. I've Shaqiri'd it. Yeah. Top left mate. Don't worry about it. You gave Peter a goal voucher and he's just spent it. Well, look, I mean, poor old Hungary. I mean, they did have to come up against Jamal Musiala, who scored his second goal of the tournament, and as you said, Jim, in our WhatsApp group, he has player of the tournament vibes already. He's put in 2 brilliant performances so far. He's just marauding and fun, isn't he? And Wirtz is the same as well. This Germany team looks on the pitch how it looked like it was going to look when you see it written down on paper, if that makes sense. There's a real brilliant balance there. Mm-hmm. And they've got what I really like about them as well is they've got kind of regular substitutes where they know what they're going to do. Because like Havertz will come off and Füllkrug will come on, and that will change them for the last sort of 20 minutes. So they'll have that big bruiser up front, who is just chaos. Füllkrug, isn't he? Yeah. He's missing a tooth. Yep. I'm sure there's a story I don't know the story.
You need to know the story.
I don't
You
know. I don't
want
want
to
to
know
know
the
it.
story,
It adds to the chaos of the man.
If you had to fight Füllkrug or Martin Adam,
Half Krug.
you can't have a half Krug. You've got to go
Give me
the
a half Krug.
full thing. Who would you rather have a fight with?
Füllkrug, because I think
Never go full Krug.
I think Füllkrug would obviously win.
Yeah.
But we'd probably go for a stein afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas Adam would kill me and then probably
eat you.
come for any
Be
remaining members of
brooding.
my family.
Yeah.
I think that man's been mischaracterised by all of us.
He's just a terrifying physical specimen, isn't he?
I just like working out. I play football. I've got a beard. What's up with you? You know?
What have you got against hunky bears?
Well, I was asked which one I'd rather fight. So
Right, okay.
in that context,
All right, which one would you rather love make with?
again, Füllkrug.
Again, Füllkrug. Thank you.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, apparently, Füllkrug is nicknamed Lucky, which means the gap in German.
Oh, nice.
I don't know whether that's to do with the lovemaking or not.
I would have called him Watford.
Yeah, I like what you've done there.
Yeah.
Like what
I'm a little bit annoyed that I put my predictions in after the Scotland-Germany game because I'm terrible with administration, and I could have had Musiala, couldn't I? Because he played well in the first match, so I could have had him as the highest goal.
You're bemoaning to us that you
that I didn't cheat. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well, Marco Rossi, the Hungarian manager, was all but saying that about the referee in
my
this game,
God,
wasn't
yeah.
he? I've never complained in my career as a coach. I've never looked for excuses, but what the referee did tonight, I mean, come on.
I like it's hard to call it a coming together because the Willie did not stop. He was propelled.
Well, he was talking
Gundogan.
about Gundogan fouling Willie Orban in the build-up to Musiala's goal.
I mean, they can have no complaints about leaving Gundogan completely unmarked in the box for the second, but the first, I think, was. I keep looking at it. I keep on thinking, well, what are they seeing there that I'm not seeing?
I didn't think it was a foul.
Did you not?
What,
I thought it was
you
a
thought-
foul.
did you
I
think
think it
it
was
did?
a foul. Yeah, I think it was a foul. Yeah.
Well, obviously, Marco Rossi agrees
He didn't
with you.
stop. He didn't stop running so that he would be propelled over. He was going the normal speed, and they just came into the back of him. I don't
What did you think,
understand
Jim? You're happy to defer to the referee on this?
Yeah.
Trust Big Mama UEFA.
I thought it was going to be disallowed when I saw it in real time, but I think the referee has just decided that comings together happened. I have sympathy for Hungary, to be honest. I think it's the obvious thing to say, but if it happened to England, you'd think, well, he's
happened to England, Jim. That's
indeed.
It'd be in the 3 lines montage next time.
but
round.
that's what Rossi was saying.
He's been put off his attempt to get to the ball, right?
Yeah.
So
Rossi
I do understand why Rossi would look at it.
Okay,
that way.
fair. But he did say that, well, if Germany play France, I wonder if that's given and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I did love it, though. He did say, look, Germany would have won anyway, but still.
Yeah.
And I
like it. Go down swinging.
Yeah, fair
Double
enough.
down. Lovely.
Yeah. Fair.
I thought the second goal was magnificent.
Yeah.
We were saying after the first game, weren't we, that Germany look a bit like a club side.
Yes.
And that was a great example of that cohesion they've managed to thread together.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think with the quality and the experience they have, I mean, they've got the oldest team or squad in the tournament, but it's very much experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we talk about Croatia, we'll maybe say that in not a positive way.
It's very different, isn't it? But Toni Kroos and Ilkay Gundogan
they're 33,
are in there
34.
with Musiala and Florian Wirtz. So it's it's a bit of a false impression, I think.
But it's lovely balance to the side when you mention that, because you have two brilliant central midfielders in Kroos and Gundogan. I always found Gundogan's very underrated in his career because I think he's so influential and just such an intelligent player. And goes about his business. I mean, I love that. In his sort of the twilight of his career, he moves to Barcelona.
Yeah.
You know, that's the step down for him, kind of thing. You know,
I just think the way they play that kind of easy, assured kind of performance. It's like watching a teppanyaki chef
I'll take
just
your
doing
word
his
for it.
thing. It's not particular. Like, it's supposed to be flashy, but it's actually quite functional. He's just cutting up bits of prawn and flicking an egg in his hat.
Yeah.
Like, it's functional flashiness. I think
it's not.
Love it.
It's not Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah.
I saw a cocktail barman making a cocktail once, and he had the
Spat in it.
shakers and all those things, and he flipped it up above his head, and he didn't fucking catch it.
Yeah,
And it was one of the best things I've ever seen in my
Threw your
life.
beer in the
He looked
air,
like such a
shouted, "It's
dick.
coming home!" It's beautiful. Yeah.
And you'd only ordered an orange juice and lemonade.
That's a little insight into how petty I am.
Yeah, no, you'll
Said
take
to his
that.
date, "Yeah."
I knew he couldn't do that.
Shall we get out of here? I'm very hard right now.
Not paying for that. But more specifically on Musiala, though, who has lit up the tournament so far. I remember in the previous Euros, of course, England beat Germany, thinking, have we really missed out on that player? And now I'm thinking, oh, yes, we have. Why didn't you try harder to get that man?
I try and think it's just another selection headache Gareth doesn't have.
Oh, he'd have an absolute stonking headache, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Terrible.
I know.
Erling Haaland was born in Leeds as well. It could be so much worse, selection headache-wise.
Yeah, I think Al Finger was never going to let that happen. In the same way with Peter and Casper. But yes, but Musiala, though, a fabulous footballer, and does take Germany to another level. I mean, we talk about the quality they have, but when you have a player like that, he's such a menace. He's so good among the goals. It is quite frankly wonderful to see.
They're a possession-based team.
They are.
A lot of that is just him.
Yes.
Just sort of running around with it.
Indeed.
Doing what he likes.
Yes, indeed. By the way, on Füllkrug, the man who we've just been talking about, did you see that in the warm-up for Germany's opening game against Scotland, he accidentally broke a German fan's hand with a wayward shot?
Yeah. He's
Mr.
chaos.
Fluffman.
He
Mr.
is
Fluffman.
absolute chaos.
Yeah. The fan said, I sang along to the national anthem on a stretcher. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That's the passion. That's the stuff, Peter.
Am I just too...
You don't even know the words to our national anthem, you traitor.
I think there's a bit about sandwiches, I think.
But it's king instead of queen now.
King.
We all still get that wrong.
Confusing, yeah. God, king. Completely different word, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that. Am I being completely hardcore, score to think that you could probably sort of sit through a broken hand?
I mean, yeah, stretcher's a bit much, isn't it?
Stretcher for a broken hand just seems a
stretch
little.
for broken hand is weird, isn't it?
It is a little bit weird.
Unless he
It's a bit attention seeking.
unless he travels everywhere by cartwheel. There's surely no need for that.
Do you think
Maybe
maybe
he came in on a stretcher.
maybe yeah, true, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the ball hit the fan's hand, which broke the hand, and that whacked him in the head.
Could it be that he wanted the stretcher as well? Because, apparently kids in playgrounds, when they're playing now, when they talk to each other, they will cover their mouths as if to try and stop the cameras seeing what they're saying to each other, even though there are, hopefully, no cameras in those playgrounds. Maybe he was like, can I have the stretcher, actually?
Can I have the stretcher, yeah.
Füllkrug gave the fan a signed shirt as an apology.
Right.
So he'll never forget.
But apparently he was warned that the ball was coming towards him. How slow was this kind of shot?
Yeah, that's right. Ball coming towards you. I'll be fine. No, seriously, it's nearly here now.
It's near your hand, for crying out loud.
I don't know.
Michael Owen next to him. Oh, it's your fault.
The fan said he wanted to go to the Hungary game, and he did, and he sat behind the goal again.
Oh.
Get right behind the net, though. I do stress that. Oh dear! But there was some drama before the game. A beehive had to be removed from the stadium before the game.
Yeah, I'm gutted from those bees.
Yeah,
That takes ages, that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but you can't.
Removed, or would it be? I mean, how long does the beehive, take to be created? It seems like these stadiums have taken the mick. One of them's exploding with a shower and waterfall of water, and the other one's got a bee in it.
I don't know.
Big
do you
bee
have
house.
beehive rights? Can they claim them?
Yeah, well,
in Germany?
I don't know what the rules are. I mean, aren't bees incredibly valuable and very kind of protected these days?
I don't know.
Because if you find a bat, you don't tell nobody. You just go with a carrier bag and a baseball bat.
Yeah.
If you want to get rid of bats, just don't tell anyone you got bats.
So
get rid of them yourself.
When you say don't tell anyone,
don't tell anyone.
Just get a carrot on Spotify, YouTube.
Pete. I'm sorry, Jim. I have.
If you had bats in your belfry, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Just get a baseball bat and a carrier bag.
I'm trying to offer sympathy to this view without incriminating myself.
Right.
It's a bit like if you have an extension or something.
Right.
I live in a flat. I'm a leaseholder. But if you have an extension or something, or you want to do something in the garden and you find some remains of something,
right, eat them immediately.
You have to declare that.
Right.
Because it's...
could be a monarch.
It could be a monarch. It could be the body of... I'm
not sure about this. I'm just talking about killing a few bats. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I'm just saying that if you find like ruins or something...
Right. You have to declare.
You have to declare it.
That'd be a pain in the arse.
And do you not have to pay for the archaeological people?
Oh, I don't know.
There's something... It's a bit...
Oh, it's your responsibility. You have a responsibility to uncover some,
all that kind of stuff,
right,
So some people sort of go, let's just...
Take that down to the dump.
and a dump.
And
A
cause
corpse down to the-
cultural vandalism.
Right,
So you
okay.
should declare these things.
Right.
I've learned a lot.
What we're saying is bats are protected species
Yeah.
and should be reported to the authority at the soonest opportunity.
And archaeological discoveries are very important.
Yes.
Move bees less than 3 feet, in which case they will drift this short distance, or more than 3 miles, in which case they will reorientate in the new location.
Oh.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Could you not just do it
has to
very
be 3
slowly?
miles.
You move them and you put them in your rival stadium.
Could you not just do it 3 feet at a time?
Well,
They'll drift.
that is apparently one way to do it.
You do it
if
very
you're moving
slowly.
A hive, yeah.
If you're moving a big, I'm trying to think, a big house down the road, you need like a sort of car behind it to sort of go, we're moving bees.
I just don't know what benefit that would be
bee
to you
benefit.
to move it 3 feet at a time.
I find that fascinating at over 3 miles.
Yeah.
Like you've got the clock and there are bees like 2.5 miles in, but don't know where we are.
Well, they can fly, so
Yeah.
you know,
That's true.
it's easier for them to
And
come
if
back.
you're moving it slow, a footballer will kick a ball at it.
My
Yeah.
goodness, the mind boggles, quite frankly. Well, fortunately, we didn't have a situation that we had in the final of the Euros in 2016 in France, if you remember. A big bug nearly ate Cristiano Ronaldo's
Yeah, it's the
face.
moths.
Oh,
The
yeah,
moths,
I remember
yeah.
the moths.
That's right, yeah.
That was
yeah.
delicious.
If you like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right, coming up in the second half, we've got a belting game between Croatia and Albania. And tonight's matches, including England versus Denmark. See you in a moment.
You better get your finger out, all right, and make sure that you get the fucking results.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody.
Why isn't he in the setup?
Because he genuinely doesn't want to be.
Getting the fucking results.
Yeah.
Very little vegan food out there, you'd imagine.
True, and the way the SFA treated him when he went to prison that
point,
time. Croatia 2, Albania 2. What a game! It was
great, wasn't it?
Oh, come on. It's the earlier kickoffs, isn't it, between nations where you think, I don't know how they'll get on. We're thinking Turkey, Georgia, Romania, Ukraine, and now Croatia, Albania. Silvino was having it, wasn't he? Oh, my goodness, Jim Campbell.
Yeah, love
What
to
a-
see Silvino just at all, really.
And Pablo Zabaleta.
And Pablo Zabaleta.
Yes.
Xherdan Shaqiri was on the bench as well for Croatia. A lot of enjoyable faces of yesteryear. Many of them in the Croatia team, actually. I do sort of feel
Quite old Croatia, aren't they?
They are very
Nobody ever
old.
mentions that.
Very, very old. But
A combined age of 99 of
it's-
those midfielders.
they have a
And there were only
population-
2 of them.
They have a population of around 4 million, don't
Yes.
they? So I guess this is how that happens. It made me think of like what would the England equivalent be? It would be Henderson in midfield. You'd probably still have Ashley Young in there.
Yeah.
Joe Hart maybe.
Yeah, Joe
like
Hart would be
yeah.
involved.
They
James
are
Milner.
limited. James Milner,
Milner,
yes. There we go.
But when you say they're limited, though, Luka Modric did win the Ballon d'Or, didn't
Sure,
he?
sure,
Not that long
absolutely.
ago.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been one of the finest midfielders of the last
But
sort
they
of 25 years.
did look a lot better when they brought some fresh legs on fresh to the tune of 20 years.
Yes, they did. Well, I find that the Euros, and this probably happens every single time, by the way, but it very much is. That was the beautiful thing about the Turkey-Georgia game. It was a bit sort of end-to-end and a bit of a ding-dong. Whereas a lot of these games, like we talked about Switzerland, Scotland, definitely with England, Serbia, and a number of others, unless you've got, say, like with Germany, they're just generally on top, of course. It tends to be teams have periods and patches where they're on top, and you think, oh, okay. Because in the first half, Albania were brilliant. Should have been more than one up.
They look like the wily streetwise campaigners, didn't
Yes.
they? They look like the experienced team that was setting
Totally.
the tone. It was really impressive.
It was quite. I think Albania. If you are going to give them gifts,
Yes.
they are not going to look.
They prefer vouchers to
the
gifts,
gift horse in the carrot box. They are very much gonna finish them off. But they had a lot. They had a lot of chances in this
Well,
match. that
towards
they
the end
kind
of the first
screwed.
half, they should have gone 2-0 up.
Yeah, you see it so often, don't you? A team goes up and they don't expect to go up.
Yeah.
They get another chance and they almost can't believe it's
Yes,
real.
yeah.
You're right,
Right.
they overthink it.
But that
They
chance,
see the
though,
headlines, yeah.
I know it's easier said than done, of course, and he's the professional and I'm not, but the way the ball comes across and the keeper comes out, and the keeper makes a great save, he tried to place it to the goalkeeper's right, and it was just smothered by the keeper. It's tailor-made to go to the keeper's left, that chance. How many times you open the body, and it's
Yeah.
already done for you, because the goalkeeper's momentum is
He's
goalkeeper's
taken
going from
away,
left
yeah.
to right, so can't get... It's a side foot into the back of the net,
Yeah.
really. And when he missed that shot, I thought, oh man, like
Do it for Tirana. Do it for Dua Lipa. Do it for everyone.
indeed, and Silvino more to the point.
Silvino,
Give that honorary Albanian citizen, a nice. Was it his birthday? Oh, I'm thinking of maybe Montella the other day for Turkey. But look, yeah, Albania in the first game when they play Italy again, 1-0 after however many seconds, 24 seconds or whatever it was, and then they sort of were like, oh, this is amazing, and it was like, oh shit, but that's Italy, they're the holders, and then they retreat, and they never really got out, and Italy looked fairly comfortable despite that sort of late chance.
That must be terrifying, right? You go 1-0 up and they're not bothered. That was how Italy looked.
Yeah.
But this was different.
Jim, we know it ourselves. But this was different. You're absolutely right. And it's funny, with regards to, say, Scotland and Albania and maybe one or two other sides, it can be the sort of the jitters of the opening game. I mean, even Southgate said this about England, of course, very experienced with tournaments with a lot of those players. The first game, the emotions and the nerves and so on, you settle into it by the second game. And you can see that with the newer teams as well. Even though Albania were there in 2016, and they settled into this. Should have been more than a goal up, and then Croatia come roaring back, and Croatia suddenly go, there they are. There's the experience, and Albania look like they can't get out, and they're not going to do anything. And by the end of the game, it was a ding dong. You know, you had a huge period of Albania when they were on top, then Croatia, and then at the end, it all just went mad.
Yeah, Kramerich scored on his birthday as well, which is enjoyable for him, I'm sure. But
there's the birthday.
The second Croatia goal felt completely inevitable, didn't it? And
Yes.
I was so delighted Albania got back into it, because I really thought the moment had gone for them. But they battled really, really well. And as you say, it became a ding dong. It became really, really end to end. And it was one of those ones where, like, the last 5-10 minutes of it was kind of one of the best periods of the entire tournament so far. You don't want it to stop, and you're a bit annoyed at the referee for being a killjoy, doing his job.
Can we have extra time?
Yeah.
2 minutes for the end, I think they whiffed one. I was like, that's done. So I went to the kitchen. I was like, no, they scored.
Yeah.
How have they scored?
But what about Jasula, though? I mean, what a game he had. Because as you say, Jim, when that second Croatia goal goes in 2 minutes after Kramerich scores, the inevitability of it, the way they celebrated was, we're finally here at the tournament. We've arrived after a bruising 3-0 defeat
Rocky
to Spain.
start.
We're there. And Jasula as well, it was so unfortunate.
It was so unlucky, because they had defended so well, and they were like we said, they looked like the protagonists, really. They looked like they were in charge. And for an unfortunate own goal like that to tell, because Croatia are exerting a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And when a team does that, it feels inevitable that they're going to score, and it just feels really cruel when it comes from a situation like that, where they've just exerted so much pressure that you get a little bit of pinball going on. So for him to two-ram the equaliser, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it keeps them alive as well.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go through on 2 points. Who knows? Maybe someone will manage it.
Maybe they will. Well,
I want them to do it. I want them to do it. It's a good story.
Yeah. Well, they do have to beat a very decent Spain side, of course.
Well, they only have to draw with a very decent Spain side, potentially.
What is this, 2 points?
It's 2 points obsession.
I want to see a team go. Now that we've discussed this, I want to see a team scrape through.
This is
2 points.
If you were, if
it's possible,
this is like if you were a Premier League manager of a side who's just been promoted and going, right, the aim this season is 30 points. Everybody go, what's he talking about? It's 40. Even though it isn't normally 40, you don't always need 40, but it's 40. No, 30 points. That's what we're going for.
You see, Asani's Super Mario boots.
Yeah.
Nintendo are famously very litigious whenever any of their IP is.
They are, aren't they? They're awful, actually.
And so,
is it awful, or is it fair?
Sorry.
Just treat capitalism with a bit of respect, Jim.
All right. They have ruined lives.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you keep using words like the Euros, which is a protected trademark. So get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
What am I meant to say? Euros.
I think the European tournament that's taking place at the the moment.
Okay.
Unless we're allied with
I
FIFA
haven't
Pro.
written it on a T-shirt though.
I think if you still talk about it, you're still not allowed to. Technically, not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to use the Euros.
So if they take us to a court, are you going to try?
Oh, I'd love it. We would.
But are you going to try and defend us, or are you going to try and make sure we?
He is not representing us.
No,
Let's nip this in the bud now.
I'm going to barton it. I'm going to do some tweets. I'm going to do some spicy tweets.
We were going to let you off until those tweets happened.
But I like that he's got this guy. He's gone to. He's obviously played in Korea, quite famously. Slovenia sort of found him and brought him to the side.
Yep.
And he's turned into an absolute otaku kind of weeaboo. I really love it. Right. Japanese words, but like kind of he's gone out there and he's become an absolute nerd.
So Andres Iniesta is similar, I think. So is it not official licensed Mario merchandise?
No, I don't think they've really made football boots, and they wouldn't even if you asked.
Has he? Has the is the imagery just distorted enough?
Smoke a spliff.
Yeah, Mario wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it is.
That's not Mario. Have you ever seen Mario do that?
No. That's just a generic plumber.
Yeah, he just looks
with
a
his
bit
little
like
mushroom
him.
friend.
Oh, other people can have tashes, you know. We're not allowed to wear red hats, are we not? Right.
You're not with your rep.
Careful. Good luck to him, we say, and ourselves if it ever comes to it. But yeah, so I mean, really, from Croatia's point of view, this is a poor result.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously dropping 2 points, and they're up against it now. They've got to play Italy. Obviously, Italy and Spain play tonight. Could this be the end of an era for Croatia? Could they go out in the first round? Would this be the last time we would see Modric and some of those?
Yeah, of course.
Players?
I mean, it's the end of an era. Whatever happens, right? They've got to
can't
refresh
go on
it.
forever.
They have to.
Do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
And they look better when they did make the changes.
I mean, in what way would it not be the end of an era?
If he hangs around and plays at the next
Modric,
World Cup.
You're thinking about a Masters League, aren't you? You're thinking about a Masters competition.
We do have the Legends World Cup soon, don't we?
World Cup.
Yeah, we've got that to fall back on if England go.
He's a young buck.
He is. I don't know.
He's like the Wayne Rooney of the Masters generation.
I think it depends how it ends. I think if they were to get through and give a good account of themselves, then he might bow out. If they go out of the group stage, I think Modric is going to go North America, eh? One last job for the World Cup.
Maybe
Tonight, as we say, Spain are playing Italy, big one there. Slovenia will be playing Serbia, and England are playing Denmark.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Slovenia and Serbia can just draw. That'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be helpful, wouldn't it?
I see. That's
And doable.
Yeah,
pretty doable as well.
So.
Yeah, I think that is very much doable.
We shouldn't be having to hang on to this, but we are. So there we go.
Yeah, Southgate has confirmed Luke Shaw will miss the game, and you think, oof.
Yeah, he also said he probably thinks he'll miss the entire group stage, didn't he? So that's
okay.
Yeah. That's
a waste of a bloody seat, isn't it?
He did stress it was a gamble.
Yeah,
he did stress it was a gamble. The real hope was that Shaw would play some part in the Denmark game. That's presumably what he wanted. Bring him on there and then play him against Slovenia.
Bring him on in the
now it looks
final.
neither. Bring him on in the
goal.
He has pedigree for scoring in European competition / championship.
Yeah, maybe he'll just come back, score the winner in the final. Bring him on late, score.
Yeah.
See you later.
Or early.
I mean, I'd be happy with that, Jim.
I'd take it.
I'd bite your hands off for that. Yeah, very much so.
Unchanged, do you think? I think it'll be unchanged.
I think England will be unchanged. Southgate said that he has been talking with Trent Alexander-Arnold for the last year, really, about this role in midfield, and he obviously wants.
Takes longer because his name's long.
That's true. Year and a bit.
Listen, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh, I'm out of breath.
Yeah. TAA. Even that's a mouthful. But he really wants Trent to play in that position and to really impact games, and it is a conundrum, isn't it, that you have a player with such talent who can do things that very, very few other players in world football can do. Why on earth would you not want to get the best out of him? However, it is at the moment putting a squarish peg in a round hole. I say squarish because Alexander-Arnold does know that role a little bit, but he is a little bit inexperienced as well. So that really is the area of the pitch that England are going to be, not targeted, but they're going to be scrutinised, certainly.
Yeah, very much
Whether
so.
it's by opposition players or media.
Him in particular, and we've already seen it and indeed done it ourselves based on the first game, because we saw the positives and the potential drawbacks of him in that position in that first game.
Yeah.
But Southgate, as you rightly mentioned, was talking about the emotion of the tournament and the reality of how things feel when you start a tournament. And actually, England came through it unscathed. There's every reason to suggest that, they'll be better going forward. We've seen it so often that they might win the first game, but it's sometimes in the Euros in particular, it can be a little bit of a sluggish watch.
Slugfest.
Yeah.
I would say that I listened to your Dirty Low show after the last England match, and you little Peter pessimists.
Yeah?
You were harking back to Sven's England. You were just being generally down about things. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't expect it.
I don't think that's a fair characterisation of what we were saying at all.
Can I defend Jim and me?
Right,
Jim,
okay.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Fine.
you might agree. No, I think that, the reason why I was a little bit concerned is because of the rhetoric that was which was coming out of this was a lot of people go way over the top and go, oh, we're doomed, this is rubbish, you're not going to win the tournament or whatever.
Or if you win well, the opposite happens.
Yeah, totally. So I get that. Then the whole thing of but it's the first game and it's this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. Yeah, absolutely, but I wasn't really listening to either camp. I was saying, well, what we saw happen was England play very well for half an hour. That's good, and then when they're pressed by a team who are cannier than people may give them credit for, but they're not a side that are going to bother. I would have not thought even the semi-finals. If Serbia got to the quarter-finals, that would be a very, very impressive tournament for them. So, England got pressed and then they retreated. Now, again, it is how you respond to that, as Rafona was talking about. If England just knocked the ball about and it was a bit stodgy and it was a bit uninspiring, then okay, control the game, take it easy. I don't mind that at all. If France and Austria, when they play, I know France, there was one or two chances for Austria, but France always looked like they could turn it up a gear, and there was a bit of pace.
But is that not just our little kind of like England worry in the back of our head that will go back?
No, because it reverted to the thing England have done when they've got to the latter stages of the tournaments. Russia 2018. Euros final against Italy. Now, funnily enough, actually not against France in Qatar, which I thought there's the progress.
Yeah.
And it felt like, oh no, England again retreating and just knocking long balls, hopeful balls up to Kane. Now, I know Pickford is a good passer and Kane can have an impact there, but it's
not how our best players play in the
and Foden, whether you blame the manager or the player or the combination of both, Foden doesn't seem to be involved as much as we would like. It looked disjointed. England looked like they had gaps, huge gaps between those who were defending and Harry Kane, essentially. Yeah. And so they were the concerns. And the reason why I had a little concern about England, and I stress it's only a little one because it is early days, is, it's gone back to that. It's not that it was boring or uninspiring, but they just got the job done. It was going back to that thing we've seen England do and get penned in. And if Serbia had scored, you'd have fancied them to get a second one. Now, you can argue, well, they didn't. Fine.
I don't know about that.
Well, anyway, that didn't happen, so we shouldn't dwell on that. But for me, it was that whole resorting to, we can't get out, we can't play our game, I'll just knock it long.
I get the sense that with any teams who play in tournament football, it's always, unless we're already through in a group, we sort of go 3 weeks before, we go, it's Serbia, and then a day before, it's Serbia, and I like 3 weeks before, I'll be like, it's Denmark, and now I'm going, it's Denmark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They've got footballers as well.
Yeah, they're professional.
For me, I think they do have that other gear to go into to kill off those
Definitely,
games.
yeah.
But I worry that we just don't see it enough. But because it's the first game and because getting the 3 points is the most important thing about it, I do think that gear is there. I just hope that I hope we move into it fast enough when we need it. My concern is how happy we are with 1-0. Do it at 2-0.
Yeah.
Please, Gareth.
Yeah.
Can we do that at 2-0?
I know what you mean, but like I say, though, but inevitably, as you know, we sort of slightly joke, Jim, and say, well, we just wanted to defend what we were saying.
Sure.
I think when we gave those opinions, you talk about the concern, but you stress, look, it's a little concern, but ultimately, if you offered 1-0, you take it, and that first half an hour was very encouraging, and obviously Bellingham is great, and we know what England can do and what they have done.
You're trying to take a longer view on the latter stages of the tournament and how what we've seen from England might fit in there.
Indeed, and also as well, when people then press you on your concern, you end up talking about the concern, and it sounds like a bigger concern, and you're stressing, no, it is just a little concern, if you see what I mean, because you've seen things play out as they before as they did there. But you're right, I think England do have a different gear. I think they've got several different gears.
I mean, the last 2 tournaments, the middle games have been awful and have like sucked all of the kind of fervour out of it. So I really hope, we've got that out of the way now. You know what? If England do win in a sort of slightly unconvincing way tonight, I'll still take that over what we had before.
Yeah, if England go hell for leather and they win, do you think, lads, keep some back?
Yeah. They can't, as England have shown time and time again at tournaments, they literally can't win.
I like it. I'm excited.
But I am feeling broadly positive though about it.
Yeah, me too.
I think we might see a few different substitutions this evening. I think we might see Anthony Gordon at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that would be quite good
Stretch his long legs.
Well, because the type of football Denmark play, we know that the Scandinavian sides are not that dissimilar to the British sides. There are differences, but and I think that sometimes that direct play is quite effective in these games, and I think Gordon is great at that.
I also wonder if in game we might see Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka swap sides.
Yeah, I think because if you look at heat maps, and I know people can get a bit beardy, but I don't think a heat map is too pervy when it comes to football things. you look at his positions. People always talk about him playing central for Man City. Yes, there's a point there, but actually it's a bit like David Cameron. It's more centre right. Okay, it's very much the right side of that centre, and that's where he operates. So you would think drifting in off that right flank.
So you want him full Farage, is what you're saying?
I never want that, for the record. And I think Foden would be more suited on that right side, but I think Bukayo Saka arguably is as well. But I think you're right, Jim.
Saka's versatile and has played on the left before, though. So, and it will give the fullbacks different challenges if they swap it over within game. We'll see.
I think you're quite right to say that. Well, whatever happens tonight, let's hope that the referee is a decent height. And what I mean by that is this. A recent study from researchers in Germany and Austria have found that if a referee is about one head smaller than a player he wants to sanction, it is more likely he will be punished for misconduct.
Yeah.
So should they crouch down?
Maybe.
Is it kind of like a I guess it's shot man syndrome, isn't it? Which apparently isn't true. Me and Marcus were talking about this before the show.
Yeah, we were arguing about it, weren't we?
2 little fellas in the studio were talking about how short man syndrome doesn't exist.
Did you know
we were fighting over a stepladder.
Did you know that did you know that Saddam Hussein was 6'2"?
I did not know that.
Stalin was 5'4", I think, 5'3".
No,
Very short.
Napoleon was like average height, wasn't he? And it was kind of propaganda to make him seem silly. That he was small. I don't think he actually was.
But that is quite funny if you sort of say someone's short when they're not. You know what I mean? That is infuriating.
Donald Trump says he's 8'4".
Who last edited this Wikipedia?
And he's got big hands, big old hands. Yeah, so we want so if a referee is about a head smaller than the player, then the player's got to be careful. But of course, at the Euros, only the captain can talk to the referee. So if the referee. Yeah, if the captain, Harry Kane's got to be careful there. I think, if it was one of the taller England players, but as you say, take a knee, go down.
Well, I'm sort of
to be fair, Harry Kane is quite stooped.
Yeah,
so the referee might respect that.
That's true.
I think that you would have a situation where, because there's not that many players who have like Kid and Play style tall hair, do they? Or Wayne X from Static X. Like, there's nobody that really spikes up their hair anymore. So maybe we could bring that back. Maybe you could become more, be seen like you've got a bit more about you if you were a bit taller. So maybe we'll go for full Jedward for people who are a bit small.
Well, now you're talking.
Trippier with a massive Jedward.
That'd be cool.
I'd love that.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?